Waving at y'all. All right.
Metamorfize.
Hi, everyone. Okay, is this going live or what? All right, that's cool. Take two. Here we go. Good morning. This is a track I made. It's called The Only Way to It Is Through It. Because that's how important resistance is, mastering it. I made a song about it. If you're joining me, give me an icon. Let me know who's here. What you resist. What you resist, persist. Hey, Gisela. What you resist, persist. What you resist, persist.
Mastering resistance.
You always have a choice.
The only way to it is through it.
The only way to it is through it.
The only way to it is through it. The only way to it is through it. Breathe in.
Ready?
And breathe out. You have a choice. You have a choice. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this.
Always have a choice. Where your attention goes, your life flows. If you're joining, what's up, Laura? Hey, everyone. Say hi to me. Give me an icon. Leave me a comment. I'd love to know who's here. Checking out the Instagram waves. What's up, everybody? All right. The only way to it is through it. So let's go through it right now. All right, here we go. You got this. Okay. Good morning. These are Tuesday Thoughts. I'm Lisa. I did a poll last week and we put a bunch of topics up, and everyone, or the most popular one, was mastering resistance. So here we go. I'm going to be talking about mastering resistance. And I was just sharing that track because when I was putting together my 30 mind mastery audios for my 30 Days to Change program, I could not do one on resistance. So I ended up making a track, like a little beat track out of it, because guess what? Every single person in the whole world experiences resistance. And I think that's what made it so popular for in the poll for me to talk about today, because really, oh, look at this little heart coming out of my head. Really, this is a very important thing that I've had to look at in my own life on how to master resistance. And I don't even know if there's really such a thing as mastering it, but there is the understanding of a cycle that you can start to dissect and look at and get in touch with, so that you can move through what we are going to call resistance, which I'm going to break down as some other things, and move towards the thing that you want. So resistance is basically like a cousin or a brother to fear. And it shows up when you want to do something for yourself. It shows up mostly when you're trying to, actually, I was busted out this, The War of Art. This book is literally all about resistance. There's a book about resistance because it's that important. And I was just reading some of it this morning, and I was noticing, wow, the first page is all the places that resistance, it's called Resistance Greatest Hits. I love that. And it's basically the pursuit, it's going to show up in the pursuit of any calling in writing, painting, music, basically when you're trying to do anything creatively for yourself, or like, for me, and this talk is also about how resistance shows up for me in my life and what I do to move through it. And that's the key phrase here, is move through it. And that's why this whole week I'm going to be posting about the only way to it is through it. And really, I was actually receiving an energy session yesterday, and I was kind of looking for the downloads for today. And I was realizing it's not just resistance that the only way to it is through it. It's every emotion. Every emotion really requires us to detach from it being a permanent state of being, and that we move through it, whether it is joy or pain. It's just that when we're in joy, we have this desire to hold on to it longer because it feels good. And that attachment is part of what brings us to suffering, actually, because then when it does go, we feel then the sadness, and then we're so quick to want to not have the sadness. So if you're joining me, leave me an icon so I can see who's here. And one of these days, I'm going to figure out how you can see who is here. I have resistance to looking that up. So the only way to it is through it is basically for every emotion. And emotion is a water, it's the throat, it's blue, it's our expression. And also it is, water is fluid, it's waves. It comes in and it goes out. And the more that we can move through understanding and ride the waves, basically ride them. Some are easier than others to ride, but I guess one of the nuggets I want to impart today is that, and again, nothing I say here is really rocket science. It's kind of just putting together in moments and connecting some dots, but it too shall pass. Even like the biggest pain that we have, if we relax into it, which is one of the things that has come up with me around resistance, is relaxing in the resistance, not fighting it. That's like a big thing that came up. So one of the fun things I did this last week is start asking a bunch of my friends their thoughts on resistance. And I was at the beach and we were breaking some things down, and that was one of the nuggets that came from it, is don't fight it, because it's almost like white knuckling it versus relaxing into it and knowing that the thing that you seek is on the other side. It is through it. So with that said, though, there is an awareness of a cycle that can help you move through resistance easier. Okay, first of all, everyone experiences resistance, so we're not unique in that, whether that's comforting or not. To me, sometimes knowing that every single person has the opportunity to develop understand their cycle with resistance is actually, to me, an opportunity. And I had resistance to do this today because I'm checking in with myself, because there is so many different ways to talk about this that I'm actually like, whoa, okay, where do I go with this? So resistance has shown up the most in my life around working out, around staying inside of the plan that I put for myself around food and health. Ooh, the paint, when I go to paint and I'm staring at the white canvas and I have to move through the resistance of, for me, perfectionism, or will I get it right? That's a big one that comes up for me. The right and the wrongness of things, which I've worked a long time now to realize there is no right, there's only next. And that's a great thing around resistance, is to know that you just keep going. There's a next and a next and a next. And resistance, one of the things that kind of came up as a visual for me is the resistance being a door. And it's a doorway to another door, really, but it's a passageway, I should say. Maybe it's less of it's a door that leads through a passageway. And you will learn so much about yourself as you move through resistance, because resistance is the opportunity to see who you are in the face of difficulty. I feel like I need to repeat that. I don't even know if I can repeat it. Resistance is the opportunity, Gisela, help, to see who you are in the face of difficulty. And if you know that resistance is going to be difficult, but you don't label the difficult as hard or wrong or bad, but you just see it as a phase, as the passageway, as something that you must maybe gear up for. Maybe, you do need a little mental armor or some, like, all right, here I go, some motivation, some pep talk to yourself to move through it. But the thing is, that's the little passageway that is going to bring you to your next level, that is going to keep moving you forward, to elevate you. And there has been a lot of my marketing sometimes talks about the like trying and failing, because I feel like most of what I've been trying to do is master that resistance. It's to shorten the time it takes me to do the thing that I want to do. So the mastering of it isn't that we ever like get rid of resistance. It's the actual, it's for me, it's the shortening of the time. So knowing that it's always going to be there. So when you feel yourself in resistance, you create tools or mechanisms, mind mechanisms and techniques to move through it. So like, oh, hello resistance, that's step one. It's just even being able to name it. Like it can, ooh, this book was, I was just looking at it, it talks about how sneaky resistance is. Resistance is literally linked to your sabotage. It knows exactly all the things to say to you, all of the ways to take you down, to prevent you from doing that thing. And if you know it's going to come out, it's like war. It talks about it as a war, that you're in battle with yourself, that it's a silent killer, that it's not something that you see, but it's something that you feel. I pulled some really powerful ones. Resistance has no strength of its own. Every ounce of juice it possesses comes from us. We feed it with power by our fear of it. Yeah, we fear it. We fear it because of what I was saying earlier, is that because it represents the difficulty, we fear it because we think difficulty means hard or it's going to challenge us, and sometimes it does. But we actually are fearing by our fear. We're fearing by our fear of it. We fear resistance and what we think it's going to do. Master the fear and you conquer resistance. That was one that stood out to me. Resistance goal is not to wound or disable. Resistance aims to kill. I was reading that and I was like, oh my God, no wonder why we all want to figure this out. Because we're living, this is like a little battle we play with ourselves. And if you're someone like, well, me, who has to eat every day and has to like have these conversations with myself around food, that's basically resistance conversations. That means I'm in battle with myself multiple times a day. And then you add on the working out, and it's like, what kind of like mind is that to live in if I have to work so hard? So yeah, I really do encourage everyone to start to look at their cycle, that they can start to break down how resistance, first of all, like I said, the naming of it. I think I made some notes here around a sequence that I'm going to try to share later. Oh no, I didn't write it here. Naming of it. Okay, well, it's pretty obvious. There's the naming of it, identifying when it comes up, and then once you're like, okay, high resistance, you have a choice, which is also what that track's talking about. So one of my favorite manifesting techniques, I call it a technique even though it's really just a question, but a lot of my manifesting techniques are questions, because questions give you the opportunity to pause and redirect and reroute. So the question is, what are my options in this moment? Boom, you pull yourself out to be in witness mode when you ask yourself, what are my options? Because you allow yourself to be like, okay, I thought that I was going to do this, but if I'm having resistance, maybe also I feel that resistance isn't always like leading you, well, actually it's never really leading you down the wrong path, because it's talking about it in this book around it leading you down your creative path. But resistance can also be a very interesting teacher, and a moment of not teacher because it is a teacher, but reflection, where you actually pause and you go, I'm resisting this. Is it because I don't want to do it and I'm protecting myself from something? Or is this the thing that I need to actually just push through and discover who I am on another level? Okay, if you're here joining me, because I see a bunch of people here, I don't know, share your thoughts around resistance. What does resistance either mean to you? How does it show up for you? What are your thoughts? Because this is a huge topic. Oh, I see you all are writing stuff here. Oh, your cycle is confusion. Yeah, the emotional underlying way it shows up is, oh, because it's amazing. It'll like numb you out. It'll like have you watching Netflix for hours, and then yep, rest, meditate, procrastinate, lose time, get depressed, lose motivation. Beautiful Stacy, what's up? Thank you for joining us. And this is so beautiful. Resistance is the opportunity to see who you are in the face of difficulty. Thanks for documenting that for me. So yeah, resistance is, I'm just checking these. Wow. Let me look at this here again. It's talking about like Henry Ford continues to throw up every time he goes on stage. Resistance doesn't go away. Universal. I liked learning that. I told you that we're wrong if we think that we're the only ones who struggle with resistance. It's impersonal. Resistance is not out to get you personally. It doesn't know who you are and doesn't care. Resistance is a force of nature. It acts objectively. And actually, I was thinking about that in nature, because when I had the door analogy, I was talking to a friend about, well, is it a door that is being pushed by wind? I mean, nature holds a lot of things that like the resistance of the bud, the flower pushing through to open, the resistance of the seed that has to move through under earth to sprout up. Everything, even nature, moves through resistance. A bird flying in the wind versus flowing with the wind. So affirmations that came up now that I hear myself say the flow, I was like, okay, so if resistance is basically our self-sabotage and our fear of moving through something, then what's the opposite of resistance? So if we're not resisting it because we're like pushing it, we're allowing, we're opening, we're flowing. So just as much as we're going to look at resistance cycles this week, we're also going to spend our time probably on Friday and actually tomorrow even, just opening up and just allowing, again, the throat to know that the only way to it is through it, and that you're going to move through it faster if you're in a state of relaxation and expansion versus contraction. Well, you know, they go together. Everything is moving with its counterpart. Though it feels malevolent, resistance, in fact, operates with an indifference of rain and transits the heavens by the same laws in the stars. When we marshal our forces to combat resistance, we must remember this. This is, I mean, if you are interested, this book is really powerful. Resistance only opposes in one direction. Resistance obstructs movement only from a lower sphere to a higher sphere. That's the other thing. Resistance, that's the beauty of it. First of all, it's going to keep you from moving to your higher level, to your next level. But when you do move through it, you can literally say to yourself, welcome to my next level. And these happen on very micro levels in our lives and in our day, and it happens on very macro levels. You know, there's the resistance to go outside and work out. And then there's massive resistance around, like right now, for me thinking about am I moving and things like that. So, of course, this has gone a long time because this is a huge topic. You know, another thing they talk about in this book, which actually kind of surprised me, is that they talked about in this book, not that it's a thing, because I know in mind mastery, self-mastery work that I teach, there's a moment I always talk about when you start changing, you have to almost like look at the people around you, because they are also going to be in the resistance of you changing. And then we have double resistance because we're battling our own change, and then we're battling that fact that when you're changing, you are activating other people's trigger around their own resistance. I know that was a bit of a tongue twister, but it talks about this. Like, you're going to have to then battle other people's resistance around you changing. I think it's just so multi-layered in this life. And that's why I'm passionate about, I went from doing graphic design to lifestyle coaching to business coaching. And the reason why I'm landed here on mind mastery and self-mastery work and breath work for that matter is because once you get underneath everything and you begin to really get in touch with the dialogue that you're having with your mind, whether on resistance or whatever we're going to do next week, or even the money, health, and love that we did previous weeks, you can create anything for yourself because you are becoming the master of your mind. And it's your mind that is navigating your decisions, and it's your decisions that you can link to your goals. So ultimately, this is why I have landed here in my life and in my career. It's been my personal journey. It's been my pleasure to discover this within myself and then now to share it. So with that said, let's pick an Osho card. This is a huge topic, so please continue to... Ooh, I just opened resistance and sex. Basically, be careful of your sabotage. Oh, become aware of it. Start to look at how your resistance shows up. Like Stacy was sharing here, with beautifully sharing like the cycle of understanding. Oh, confusion. Oh, I had that actually. There was a good year, maybe even two. I was rocking around going, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. I was just hiding behind I don't know, because if I don't know, then I didn't have to do anything. It was a brilliant little trick my mind was playing on me. I loved it until I was onto it. And then I was like, wait, I do know. And so every time I heard myself say, I don't know, I began the mind mastery training. Thank you. You're amazing too. Mwah. And I would say to myself, I do know. So see, that's the thing about it. The flipping, you don't change it overnight. You catch yourself in it, which is the noticing, and then you begin the reframe, which is also, yeah. So the reframe for me was, wait, I do know. So maybe when you're in confusion or lack of clarity, you can, Stacy, you can begin to, oh, I have an art piece that says confusion is just clarity in disguise, right? Because if you're hiding behind, oh my God, I'm so confused, I'm so confused. One of the best things to do is look at what do you know in a scenario, because what you do know will always give you the nuggets and keep you moving forward into more of what you know. Staying in I don't know will just perpetuate more I don't know. Anyway, turns out I love doing these little Tuesday talks, so I'm not even going to pretend to go under any certain time anymore. And I love hearing from everyone. Resistance is linked to sabotage. I'm taking notes for myself. Oh, thanks. You guys are awesome. Well, I'm here to serve, so if there's any topics, even the resistance, oh my gosh. So even the resistance allows me to make this beautiful bridge. Resistance is beautiful. You know, this is my last thought here before I pick this card. Resistance is your biggest teacher on who you are and the way that you want to move through life. And if you just focus on that, you will become super masterful in navigating your mind. And that's it. If you need help with that, breaking down your cycle, I'm here for you. Repetition is the key to a lot of mind mastery and habit changing things. So I'm going to put in here. Oh, actually, we have a Manifest and Mingle coming up on August 18th, where we're going to be calling into existence what it is we want. Thank you for reminding me, Lisa. I just reminded myself that actually the reason I'm doing this here is the resistance ever telling you what isn't right for you, though? Hold on, I'm going to answer that. So resistance, or the Manifest and Mingle party, is going to be perfect for anyone who wants to get in touch with their resistance, because when you want to manifest something, which is what we're going to do, we're going to be charging up your vision. We're going to be looking at the thing, the goal that you want, which may be far away, could be close up. Resistance will come up for that. And when you're in a community of people that are all experiencing it, cheering you on, and also you have the opportunity to look at what you do know and create steps forward, there is a momentum that gets created. So Manifest and Mingle, which is on August 18th, is going to be an amazing opportunity for us to come together and really like make moving through what you want to create in your life fun. That's the main thing for me, is that self-development, mind mastery, resistance, fear, pain, all of it doesn't have to be hard. Okay, so Stacy, is the resistance ever telling you what isn't right for you? I had that question a lot around intuition and knowing where, like, when to listen to something. Well, this is the thing. If resistance is always a passageway to what's next, it's really not a right or wrong thing, because it's the right, it's even in the question that you're asking, where we are putting right and wrong to things, that actually I would step it back, because the minute we ask, is something right or wrong, we're taking ourselves out from the idea that everything teaches us something, and that everything is really about the perspective that you want to bring to it, versus was this right or wrong. And that's just something that I'm personally practicing big time right now. If any of you were on the lives or whatever I was doing around love, I was talking about how I'm approaching life as a workshop. Like, every man I'm dating is a workshop. Everything I'm doing is a workshop. And when I say workshop, I mean, when you sign up for a workshop, you are signing up for yourself to learn something, because that's what a workshop is. And it has a title, and it has a subtitle, and it has bullet points, and these are the things you're going to learn. But the key thing about a workshop is that it ends. And there's that non-attachment thing. So you go into something, you learn what you need to learn, but you go looking for the learning. That's the key to where, that kind of like the evolution I'm making in my life, is that I'm looking for the thing to learn, and I'm almost going into it, creating it. Like on my dates, I'm going in like, this is okay, fine. Here's an example. As I'm sharing, I have resistance around food and working out, which also translated into having body image distortion over the course of time. And so wearing a bathing suit is definitely not my favorite thing to do. At least it wasn't in my head. So one guy asked me out to go to the beach. You can imagine some of the dialogue I was going to have with myself, but instead I said, you know what? This is the workshop for busting through my insecurity about my body image. And I went and I just owned it. He didn't know the difference between where I was and where I am today. So I chose to bring that energy. So I hope that answered your question. And here we go. On that note of no rights and wrongs and only nexts, and there's no such thing as failure, but just feedback. Here we go. Picking a card. All right. I'm looking. I see the number 10 in front of me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom. On resistance. It really doesn't get any better than that. Celebration. Celebrate good times. Come on. Bunny. These girls are dancing in the rain. And funny enough, it's the water, and it's an emotion card, which is the blue. And that's what we were talking about, that moving through all celebration energy just also creates more celebration energy. I'm just going to see if there's something I want to tune into here to share with you before we get off today. Thank you for all these people staying here today with me. That's amazing. I would love to hear any questions about resistance. I am a master is always a student, and I love learning and continuing to hear perspectives. Oh, I asked a friend this morning, like, what is his thoughts on resistance? And because he works out all the time, his perspective was about resistance training. And I thought that was so interesting, that the word resistance even takes someone somewhere. And how he said, and this was so interesting, he was like, when I'm inside of resistance training, I'm very focused on my form. And I think that is basically the same thing I'm saying about knowing your cycle, understanding your form. Hi, Karsten. Mwah. Thanks for being here. All right, celebration. This is that moving through it. You can't hold on to a celebration. You can't hold on to the pain. These 3 women dancing in the wind and the rain remind us that celebration never depend on outside circumstances. We need not wait for a special holiday or a formal occasion, nor a sunny day and cloudless day. True celebration arises from a joy that is first experienced deep within and spills over into an overflow of song and dance and laughter and, yes, even tears of gratitude. When you choose this card, it indicates that you are becoming more and more available and open to the many opportunities that are to celebrate in life and to spread this by contagion to others. Don't bother about scheduling a party on your calendar unless it's the Manifest and Mingle that you should schedule. Let your hair down, take your shoes off, and start splashing in the puddles right now. The party is happening all around you in every moment, including resistance. I guess the ultimate invitation is, can you celebrate inside of your resistance? Can you see it as the passageway to your next level? Can you fully relax in the resistance? So I will see you this week for more on resistance. If you have a topic you would like me to talk about, if you have questions that you want me to answer, I love doing that. So get in touch, and I'm going to post my song here, and I'll put the War of Art as a resource. And if and then of course I'm available for phone calls and coaching, and see you at the Manifest and Mingle party. One love, everybody. Stay steady, stay steady. Bye.